The main thing I have learnt from my audience feedback is that it is vital to use it through the planning, production and post-production stages of my coursework. It ensured that my target audience was more likely to watch or engage with my products. This is because the products were tailored towards them and their needs and their opinions. My target audience were young adults because the whole documentary focuses around a youth organisation that the target audience can join. Furthermore, I have not specified a gender because St John Ambulance as a charity is not exclusively male or female. I completed all of my feedback via Google Forms in all of the stages. This is because it allowed the audience an open and unbiased way of submitting their honest feedback. If, for example, I had got audience feedback from a large group of young people, there may be elements where people's opinions have been swayed or they didn't have ample opportunity to give their opinions or beliefs. I wanted to collate both positive and negative feedback in the earlier stages, as it allowed me to make the necessary changes if there were issues later on. It was important to adopt an environment that respondents could openly praise or criticise my work if they wanted to, because this would help my creativity be enhanced in the later stages. At the start of my coursework, I enabled my target audience to have an influence over my choice of titles, because that way it would stand out to them more on TV if it ever showed up. I gave them a number of choices and asked them to pick the one that they thought they liked the most. The overwhelming majority chose Breaking the Mould. Therefore, this shaped my choice as I knew that Breaking the Mould would be the choice most of my audience would choose if it ever appeared on screen. From this, I learned that the audience feedback is crucial to making informed decisions, and that to include their opinions in your creative process would, in the end, produce content that would appease them more. Prior to filming, I made sure to gain feedback from real cadets about what they liked about volunteering and why they did it. I did this via social media, namely Facebook, as it gave me quick and easy access to contact a large number of volunteers. As a result, it gave me an insight into the positive things I should portray to my target audience. Without this, I would have been somewhat showing the generic things that cadets do, rather than using the cadets' views to give a more in-depth look. This stage of feedback really gave me an insight into what real cadets thought before filming and before putting the camera on. This meant that I could tailor what I was going to film to suit what they thought other people would like. For my advert, I had 9 online respondents and verbal feedback from others. My target audience feedback inferred that the design and overall composition of the piece was well structured. Firstly, the clean and orderly outline of the advert appealed to a lot of the audience, as they noted that they liked the simplistic, symmetrical and clear-cut nature of it. This is positive because I did this purposefully to link to the clinical theme of the documentary. From this, I learnt that combining elements of research, like what St John actually does, with the creative pieces meant I added more layers to the ancillary task and making them more interesting. Next, the audience predominantly rated my advert as being effective at promoting the documentary. The 3 responses giving a 4 and a 5 were due to my error of not specifying which end of the spectrum was effective and not effective. From this, I've learned that I need to proofread the things that I'm giving to my target audience, because without this, they're going to think that it's not professional and then emulate that when they watch my documentary. All of these elements enabled me to see the positives and negatives of my piece. This would then allow me, if I needed to make any final changes before its completion. This feedback also shaped my work in relation to my main documentary and double-page spread, because at the time I had not finished them yet. As a result, I was able to look at the finer details that may be more prominent to the audience. Overall, the feedback that I gained was advantageous to me because I was able to see the areas that I had not looked for previously, like the effect of the symmetry. The audience feedback for my double-page spread gave me reassurance that my choices surrounding fonts and colours were the right decisions. 100% of my respondents said that the text was readable and that it was sufficient. If it had been difficult to read, I may have lost the audience interest. The other responses said it was very organised. The organised nature of this helps to link not only to the theme but also to the conventions of double-page spread articles. By adhering to this, the article is more likely to be accessible to the readers. Some teenagers, but not all of them, don't enjoy reading, and so dividing up the sides gave a clear partition between text and images. This was reflected in the feedback, as one person liked the 2 divided sections because it doesn't mean it looks cluttered. One of the sections of feedback, however, did highlight the importance of double-checking my work before submitting it for feedback. I clearly missed an element that was crucial to my work that an audience member noticed. The audience feedback therefore meant that I could look for elements that I hadn't seen previously, and I could further my understanding of the audience's needs, likes and dislikes. After receiving feedback about my documentary, the following things came to light. the documentary was enjoyed by all of the participants. 8 out of these 10 recipients thought it was really engaging. Similarly, 8 out of 10 would have watched the rest. Without any direct feedback responding to this, I cannot be sure why the 9th person wouldn't. However, this taught me to be more precise with my questions in order to draw out the finer detail. All respondents believed that the narration was good and appropriate. This has taught me to be confident in my creative choices, as previously I had thought about changing my narrator's voice. 8 out of 10 respondents said that they liked the music. However, I think in the future I would have looked at a more wide collection of music options so that I could get a real insight into what does and doesn't work, rather than focusing on just a small selection to make the process quicker. Overall, all of the comments on my documentary were positive and enabled me to see that the creative decisions I had made were appreciated by the audience. In conclusion, the audience feedback has taught me to look critically in my work in all aspects that the audience will see. Moreover, by making snap decisions in order to finish a piece is not a good approach, as you may miss elements. The main strength of audience feedback is that they can give an honest opinion of your work so that it will strive when you do finally release it for audience consumption. By using online-based resources, I have reduced the likelihood that audience members will feel pressured to give a certain response or be overwhelmed by others.